Right. Welcome to another Your Person reading. Different energy tonight. The energy's been really high for a few nights, but that has dissipated somewhat at this end in any case. But let's have a look anyway, because, it doesn't matter what energy someone is in, they're still the same person, even though different bits might be coming to the fore. So we'll have a quick look. Bit quiet tonight. Here we go. Let's see. Lovely. Okay. Right. 3 cards for your person. And for some reason, while I was getting this ready, getting this set up, the phrase "in over their head" came to my mind. In over their head. So let's see. I'm going to cut the deck. And let's pull 3 cards. Well, Hierophant in reverse. That's somebody in over their head, isn't it? Oh dear. That's like a sort of social media spiritual teacher. And there's the real one, the high priestess. Oh man, I reckon someone is starting to perhaps realize that they are indeed in over their head. They don't know what they're talking about here in the Hierophant in the reverse, and beginning perhaps to get a scary glimmer of the power of the high priestess here. Okay, Chariot. Yeah, and this brings them like to a shuddering halt, basically. This brings them to a shuddering halt. I'm very interested in what's going on here. I'm going to put on her. No, I'm going to keep the same system. Sorry. Oh man, they're just trying to keep everything sort of like banked down inside themselves. This is about um, an inner process of vanquishing the inner angry toddler, or just the inner difficulties that we all experience sometimes. That horrible feeling of not being able to get things the way you want them and just being absolutely bloody furious. It's like tantrum energy. It's like getting hold of that tantrum energy. Let's see what else comes out, because I mean, anyway, let's carry on. Wheel of Fortune. Fuck. Yeah. Well, like I said last night, fortunes rise and fortunes fall. Um, it doesn't matter how tightly one holds on to whatever it is to which one is holding on. It doesn't matter. This wheel just keeps on turning. A really good poem by a really good poet. I know. He says, "We have little fish turn upon the big fish. Still the two of them end up on a dish. The wheel just turning over." Yeah, and it does. It does. But there's this is, I don't know, I've got a sort of last stand sort of feeling about this, and a real wish to push things forward for themselves with the Chariot. But the contrast here between the Hierophant in the reverse, followed immediately by the High Priestess in the upright, that is it's sort of fatal, really. It's fatal, because it's the presumption of wisdom by divine right turned on its head, followed immediately by just wisdom by divine right. There's no presumption of it. That's in the Hierophant. And I think there's a holding on here to the last, in the Strength card, to the last, or the sort of the disappearing. It's like that last bit when you're holding on to a cliff and those last bits of mud at the top of the cliff and the earth starts to crumble away and you just cling on even tighter. I mean, you know, this is that movement that is then going to follow when it all falls away. Ain't the kind of, well, it ain't forward movement, it's downward. And there it is on its head. Chariot in the reverse. Justice in the reverse. That turned up in the upright of one of the final cards last night. Man. Oh, and I think actually the Chariot was there in the upright immediately after Justice. So that whole kind of final three from last night, or it might be four, I can't remember, has turned up here in the same order, but both of them reversed. The reversal of fortune. Reversal of fortune. But this, do you know what? If I imagine myself in this situation where I realized that everything I had believed about something, or what I believed about something, and really, really, really held on to, was actually just a sort of a mote, just a smidgen of this, and starting to sort of perhaps sense the underlying reality of this, of the High Priestess, and feeling just like lost in that, sort of awash. Let's keep going. Oh my God, the devil, another card of holding on. Another card of holding on. No way, exactly the same position as yesterday, fall in the reverse. God, it's really not going well for them. And I almost feel a bit fucking sorry for them. That's how they're going to end up, you see. Just lonely, essentially. That's what they're heading for. And they're heading for it because of these two cards here. I mean, this, the Hierophant in reverse, followed by the High Priestess, this is an opportunity to learn and grow and change direction. But, you know, we've got the presence of this sort of more benign and useful aspect of sort of like clinging. But here we've got the really toxic side of it in the devil. Yeah, I don't see great luck for this person, I have to say. I really don't. And I mean, this upshot here is that the best they can hope for when this particular karmic cycle has come to an end, and it will come to an end at the right time in the right way because the High Priestess is here. And the journey they thought that was going to begin for them when this cycle has run its course, the journey they thought they were going to embark on doesn't happen. It doesn't happen because they've gone the wrong way. Chariot in the reverse. And they've chosen unfairness, injustice, and sort of just wrongness. Here, there's a simple right and wrong. Like if you've got a choice, say, between telling the truth about something or not telling the truth, and we've all got the choice about that all the time, all the time. And, you know, if you choose to not tell the truth because you think that will serve your interests better, you know, that is not a bad outcome. I have to say, that is not, but it's definitely not what they want. It's not the outcome they want. They want this high priest in the this Hierophant in the upright. And they want to sort of clamp down on that which threatens their interests, but they don't see that it's themselves. That's the problem. There's so little in this series of readings. There is so little active and meaningful self-reflection on the table. It's like looking at a collection of attributes rather than at a whole person. And I mean, you know, it's got to be like that in a sense in a tarot card reading, because goodness knows who's watching this and making whatever they're making of it. But I don't see, I haven't seen like an individual emerge. Not really. Not really. I'm just seeing these sort of forces buffeting your person. And yeah, they're sort of tied to that wheel. Got that line from Golden Brown. Every time, just like the last on the ship, tied to the mast. And, you know, there here we have in the devil in the upright addiction. And it's like this capacity here in the strength card for self-control. When it's mediated by the devil and justice in the reverse, that's not a good way to be going. And like I said, this is, you know, fucking hell, it could be worse. It could be the bloody tower or something. Because they won't look at the juxtaposition of their own energy here, the Hierophant in the reverse, or that their own kind of approach, almost like an orthodoxy. And there's orthodoxy here as well, and there's the orthodoxy of addiction here in the devil. They won't see that for what it is. They've held on to it for so long, and it's poisoned them. They've poisoned themselves with it for so long that it's turned on its head. But this high priestess here, you know, this is just inexorable. It doesn't matter what you do, it's always there. It's always there. And, you know, when we live lives that ignore this, ignore wisdom, basically, and self-awareness, selfhood, and you know, the high priestess is not a million miles away from the fool. There's only one card separating them in the deck, and that's the magician. But the high priestess is like self-awareness, essentially. And that's always there. And yeah, when we ignore it, and that's what I've seen over and over and over again in these readings, is somebody looking the other way and not even looking at themselves and just being driven. There's this drivenness. But not here in the Chariot in the reverse, but the drivenness is here in the devil. And this utter determination of the strength card. Perhaps they are going into what people call hermit mode. But, God, they are metaphorically kicking and screaming all the way to the bank. Oh, dear. I am puzzled. I mean, the rest of this is pretty clear. It's pretty clear. I mean, this is very subtle, but very powerful. This divine couple here of the high priest and the high priestess. But, you know, there's something kind of, what would be the word? I think it's a word that might not be politically correct anymore. There's a sort of misshapenness to this union. Well, a very clear misshapenness to it. And you know, the devil underpins it. And it's possibly like this new journey that was envisaged that is now on its head is part of what's been held here. There's some mission here, but it ain't going nowhere. Fool in the reverse, Chariot in the reverse. Let's pull a little bit more on this Hermit, because this is like a deep disintegration that I've been documenting here through these readings, really, and a kind of deep level, unscheduled functional disassembly, or unscheduled wholesale disassembly. And I'm quite surprised to see this quiet contemplative energy here. So let's, okay, well, they ain't finished yet. They're weighing up some options. They're weighing up some options here in the Lovers. Trying to work out what they really want. But they're really up against it in themselves because, as I was just saying, there's been this series of readings that have denoted somebody who almost willfully looks the other way when it comes to themselves and is just possessed by this drive, 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 drive. I mean, they might not even be aware of this yet. But, the repeating cards coming up, especially this Fool in the reverse, sometimes when you really, really like dream of something and you work and work and work and work and work towards it, and very assiduously and perhaps over an extended period of time, and you have this, it becomes like a mental object. It becomes a mental object, that ambition, that vision. And this is the thing, people talk about, you've got to have vision and all of this, and you've got to have passion, you've got to drive it forward, and you've got to really mean it, and it's all got to be very kind of intensely emotional for it to work. I question that. I really, really do, because, as I say, it becomes a mental object, like, I don't know, like that's an object. These cards are objects. I've got loads of them. Look, look. There's another object. There's my old lady glasses. My readers. Just objects. And of course, like all objects that one has craved, when one gets it, there's a period of euphoria, but it never, ever, ever lasts. Ever. With objects. And it's the same with long-held dreams and visions. Once you're there, it never feels quite real because it never is quite the same as the mental object that this, like I was saying yesterday, this kind of malignant drishti it is. It's not drushti, it's drishti. I looked it up today. This like point, this North Star towards which we aim. It's never the same in reality. And because it's not the same, and because we cherish that dream, that vision, and we spent so long and put so much energy into pursuing that drishti, following that drishti, because it's not the same when it actually happens, we inevitably experience that as a disappointment. It might actually be better in some respects, or perhaps even in all respects, but because it doesn't quite measure up. And it isn't, well, we feel like it doesn't measure up, but actually it's just different. It's just not quite the same in reality. And, that's how a lot of us live, isn't it? We just pursue this, that, and the other. And, you know, sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't. If we don't, we're disappointed. And if we do, we're disappointed. So, like this card here, the lover's card, I sometimes refer to this as the you can't have your cake and eat it card. But in what I've just said, like eat it, don't eat it, the result's the same. It's still about the cake, isn't it? It's still about the cake. The cake is the object. But I mean, perhaps this person is sort of hiding from themselves. Perhaps that's what the hermit here denotes. They're hiding from themselves and kind of stuck in this habitual, this addiction to thinking to themselves, what do I want? What do I want? Because that is the kind of question of our culture, isn't it? What do I want? You know, what do you really want? What do you want to be? Where do you want to go? What do you want to get? Where do you want to live? It's all about want, 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 want. I mean, we've had the death card turn up over and over again. It doesn't make no bloody difference. It really doesn't. But perhaps stuck in this paradigm of endless, not choices, not endless, like, oh God, you know, choice paralysis. It's not that. Well, it can be sometimes, but I'm not getting it from this card today. It's just being in this habitual mindset of wanting. And we see that here in the devil. But there's something much deeper. And as I said, it's become an orthodoxy. And it's like, what would we be? Well, for this person, what would they be if they weren't a being acting out the pursuit of their wants, like on this mission, whatever it is? What would they be? What would rise up inside them if they let go? And I mean, these two cards here, the High Priestess and the Wheel of Fortune, you know, I mean, it's pointless trying to hold on to that or stop it or control it or make it roll in the direction you want it to roll. And that's why we've also got this wheeled vehicle here. You know, these bloody great cast iron wheels or like iron tired wheels on the chariot in the reverse. The key card here is the High Priestess. She's like presiding over this whole thing. And she can see this obsession, this addiction to what do I want? I say we worship the wanting of things. We really do, culturally. You know, become the you want to be. It's like, what the fuck is that? Just become the you are. Never mind the one you want to be. Don't turn yourself into a cardboard cutout of yourself in your own mind, living some other life, and then like put a shitload of effort and whatever into sort of like trying to manifest that in the real world. Don't try to be who you want to be. Try to be who you are. That's the message today. That's part of the message here from the High Priestess. Oh, like the Jamaicans say, wanty, wanty, can't getty. Getty, getty, no wanty. Oh, moon in reverse. This is an inability to deal with or to engage with the reversal of the moon here is the inability or the refusal or the ignorance of the need to engage with the comings and goings, the risings and the fallings, the waxings and the wanings, which carry on regardless, like this wheel carries on regardless. And that's part also of the wisdom of the High Priestess. I mean, never mind the Hierophant here on his flipping head. Yeah, he's the only virtuous thing, vaguely virtuous thing here is strength in the upright. But that ability to just bloody hold on and keep going and keep going and keep going here is put to this crappy end and corrupted by this devil energy. So there's no inner union. As within is not reflected by what's outside and or external and externally viewable and experienceable. And, you know, in the same way, this person shows the world a particular side of themselves, but round the back, there's somebody else. There's somebody else. And they don't, well, perhaps they're beginning to find that problematic. I don't know. You know, perhaps they're beginning to realize here, or they're getting a sense here, that there's something antithetical to life and to reality and to truth here in the High Priestess. There's something antithetical and sort of really swimming against the tide about this endless focus on what do I want. And that's, I mean, the devil is just, I want. And that lion is a bit like that as well, that angry toddler. You know, I want. It's all about the wanting. I'm going to get one more. Yeah, look at that, magician in the reverse. He was in the upright up here yesterday, presiding over everything. This is sort of loss of power basis, impotence. The sun. Well, shit. When the sun comes out on all this and illuminates all this for this person, it's going to be like they've had their knackers sliced off. Death in the reverse. Thing is, though, even if this person has this kind of enlightenment here of the uselessness of the paradigm of desire and the objectification of everything, including other people, the instrumentalizing of other people for one's own purposes in the interests, you know, for pursuing and maintaining and protecting one's own interests. Again, antithetical to the flow of life. Well, that's pretty antithetical to the flow of life, isn't it? Because, I mean, this death card in the tarot is not the end. It's about impermanence, as I always say. And the deeper you can embrace impermanence, but this person just can't. But this was the liberation. These two cards were here in the reading yesterday as well. I'm not surprised, actually. I've got shitloads of cards out on the table. But we had death in the upright here and then the sun in the upright here. And here they are again, meeting on the table. This illumination is going to be painful for this person. And they're going to perhaps feel like they're going a bit mad. Because there's a willful, in the strength card here, refusal to engage with reality, basically. And the sort of this wanting is predicated on the idea that if you can get what you want, you will be perfectly happy forever. And that's why it always disappoints us. But for some like ridiculous reason, we go on fixating, focusing on this, that, or the other. And suddenly we find this new thing. We think, oh, yeah. If I get that, I'll be happy. It's like some weird, like, codependent relationship we've got with the rest of the world. Where we think that if we can get it just the way we want it, everything will be all right forever. And we will never die. And that, as I was saying yesterday, that's sort of the core suffering of the human spirit, sadly. I'm going to leave this here because this is getting really flipping morose. I'm glad to see the sun beaming out of here and really beaming out like the high priestess is beaming out. I'm very, very glad to see that. That's somewhat cheering. But as someone very dear to me once said, you cannot save people from themselves, or you can't save someone from themselves, but you can save yourself. So on that note, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.